to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts.
And there we go. Everybody else dancing? You're all dancing, right? Hey, everybody. I'm Erin Reed from Erin Reed Makes, and welcome to my live. So I just wanted to give a quick heads up for everybody who was expecting Brandy's live earlier today. Some things happened and schedules got mixed up. So she will be going live. She's going to reschedule that live a little bit later. Thank you guys for asking about that. And it'll be updated to the schedule, the online schedule. So just stay tuned for that and you guys can see that. So I get to launch today. That's kind of fun, right? So just as a heads up, what cards did I make? Because I'm wearing many hats. I'm behind the scenes producing with all the speakers, but now I get to wear speaker hat for myself. But today, right now, is all about my cards. So if you have any questions for me, I would love for you to answer. But these were the cute cards. I went for very just simple, fast, easy, something that you could mass produce. You could add a ton of different sentiments and just really, it's not overly complicated. So you want to get your kids in there. You want to just make a fun, cute, pretty card. Use up some of your cool card stock, either for the front panel or for the bottom panel, and just making it really cool. And then like you can also like put your little sequins in there. You could put some of your gems in there. And it's just a great way to kind of use up your stash. So I love using up stashes, and it's just a floral card. So in all of the freebie file, which you can get the freebie from my freebie link, and you can get it, there's a code. So the code is all listed on my site, so therefore you can get it. You get the thank you, happy birthday, best wishes, just for you, and love and hugs. And also as a heads up, there is a companion file that has 5 more different card fronts, all different kinds of geometrics. So it's not just all florals, there's some different ones, or I've even seen some people make their own, which I think is really, really cool. So there's sky's the limit, and you can have a ton of fun with this one. So I love that you guys have already started posting all of the cards on the Facebook group. And feel free to post your cards on the Facebook group. It's, tag the designer who made it. I've been perusing in there and seeing, and I love to comment that people have made my design. I love that. So yeah, feel free to take a picture and post it in the group and, give everybody a shout out, which is great. You love them. Can't wait to make them. Well, thank you. So I'm looking down here at the comments here. And I did see something about had difficult time getting crisp cut. Any hints? Okay, so first of all, it all depends on what cardstock you're using. Depends on what. There's one that's like delicate, so you can set it for like a delicate cut. There's also one where you can do it as a second cut. So before you remove it from the mat, just have it go a second round. When I was cutting it, I used one sheet of cardstock and I did play with it. I did probably about didn't put this on camera, but I did like 4 or 5 prototypes. We always test what we do until I found the correct setting for my paper. But if all else fails, do it round 2, hit that cut again. It's because it's on electronic cutter. It's going to hit every single line perfectly and it'll come out way better. So if all else fails, do the same thing. Did anybody else help trouble? So the workbooks, all the downloading on that stuff, there's something on the technical side and we're really sorry about that. We're working on that. So just be patient. It's on the back end of the host that it's having a difficult time. So just bear with us. We're so sorry about that. Okay. So again, looking down here, she gives the code at the, yes, I give the code in the video. And then when you go to where my video is, there's my landing page and it's got my information where you can load the workbook. The code is written right there. So no, you do not have to pay for it. It is all written right there and it's in the video. So just make sure you see that. What was the weight of the paper I used? I use Nita 110 pound cardstock. That is my go-to cardstock that I have used. Do I have it? No, I got rid of the packaging. I buy it on Amazon. I buy a big giant ream of it. It's listed in all the links for like my products. So for all of us that have a speaker, we all have our listed products. And you can also go, we have a landing page where you can click and there are affiliate links. So if you're wanting to buy the exact same paper that I use from Amazon, you can click on that and it takes you directly there. But yeah, it's 110 pound, white cardstock. I use it for all my card making bases. It's what I use for all my die cutting. It's what I use for my coloring. It's what I used for electronic cutting. I use all of it. So that's a good question. What kind of inks do I use for ink blending? What I have on hand. So the ones I used were really dry. I've fallen in love because I got to use them while I was at Creativation. So I was demoing for Crafters Workshop while I was at Creativation, and she brought in some Catherine Pooler inks, which are some really nice juicy inks. Do I have one right here? No, I don't have one right there. That's usually where I keep my inks. Oh, I probably have it in here. Aha, I have it in my Crafters Workshop. So this is, let me flip this over. So this is the Catherine Pooler inks. They're a really, really juicy ink pad. And it works really great. So that's the one I've started to gravitate to, but you know what? Sometimes I don't have the correct color. And so I will use whatever color I have on hand for a different ink. So, really juicy inks are great for ink blending. If they're in a foam pad, it really gets those brushes in there nicely. But I've used same with Distress Oxides, but that's in a felt pad. So it's a little bit different. But I use the Distress inks as well. If your ink pad is not as juicy, it's harder to get the ink and and that's why my card, I was like, it's splotchy, but it gets covered up. I mean, like you can't tell. It also almost looks kind of cool because the ink blending is just kind of a background effect to it. It's not the forefront. So, do you need the code if you're an all access holder? So my file is not in the Cricut Access. So it's not in there. It's a file that's on my SVG that I made and it's hosted on my store. So the only way to get this particular SVG for free from me and the words and stuff is to go to my store and use the code. I don't have it set up with Cricut. So I have my own store. I make my own products. So that's how you're able to get that. I don't host anything on Cricut's site. But I put other stuff up there too, because I do sublimation and I do printables and I do print files and I do cut files. I do a little bit of everything. So I host it for myself because this is my business. So I can't charge if I'm somewhere else and I can't give freebies and things like that. So, all right. So the brush holder behind me and the cactus. Okay. I know a few of you were asking about this because this is my little glue holder. So this little glue holder is so cute. This is from Prickly Pear Stamps. and they are a company that was a sponsor for the past couple of regular card summits. They don't do anything with Cricut. That's why they're not a sponsor for this round, but they were a sponsor for both the last one that was a couple months ago and also for the Christmas one that was last July. So this is the glue holder. It is so cute. And then this right here, I have a couple of them. These are the really cute die holders that you can put your metal dies, the wafer thin dies on there, but you can find all those at Prickly Pear Stamps. So it's a really, really cute store. They have lots of fun stuff. Let's see. I'm just looking down here to see if there's any questions. Usually I'm the one that's posting all the questions up on the screen. So I'm having to do double duty today. Where'd you get the brush holder? The cactus. Yeah, so the brush holder also, so I'm just gonna put that on there. The brush holder I have is this guy right here. This is also from Prickly Pear Stamps. So all of these, and I just love the colors, the teal, but they do have all of the colors. You can see it's kind of in that greenish color right there. It's just really cute. I love it. All right, scrolling back up to see, oh yeah, so awesome glue holder. Thank you. It's a cutie one. I love it. And you can pop out the bottom. Well, you suppose I can pop out. I need to take care of that, but you can pop off the bottom so you can clean it, which is really nice because it gets kind of gluey inside there. I'm not going to take care of that because I just didn't want to mess with that. I think I caught all the questions I saw at the beginning. If there's any other questions, let me know. I do want to announce a really couple of fun things that are going on right now. So just as an aside, because I always tell all the people that are sponsors, pitch yourself, talk about yourself. So if any other questions are coming in, let me know. But a couple of fun things that I have going on. So first, I have an in-person retreat. I live just outside of Austin, Texas, and I'm hosting an in-person retreat in August. Quinky Dink, it happens to be the same week that Brandy is hosting her next, sorry, Brandon's my son. So Brandy is hosting her next card maker summit. We both just happened to land on the same weekend, go figure that we were doing it, but I picked it first. I'm just kidding. It was just, she had a trip that she had to rearrange. That was the weekend that was open before crazy. My son is in band, high school band before band starts, and my husband's military and he's home. And it was just like, that's the weekend that worked out for me. So anyway, so it's in August. It's an all-inclusive. We are going to be doing card making. We're going to be doing sublimation, vinyl, water marbling. Everything is included. You don't have to bring a thing except for yourself and your clothes. Food is included. Lodging is included. And all the project supplies are included. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be all kinds of fun classes. So it's an in-person, everything inclusive. Links are on my website. It is selling out fast. So, and it is only available for 12 people to spend the night. And then there's an extra 4 slots as a day slot. So if you're wanting to just come get away for everything before the crazy school year starts, or just something as an end of summer vacation, check it out. It's called my Makers Retreat, and it's just south of Austin in Dripping Springs, Texas. We have the entire house to ourselves. It's going to be a ton of fun. So it's so cool. All right. What is the, I should be prepared for this, most complicated project I've ever done with my Cricut. Okay, I should have been prepared because I knew the question was coming. She asked this all the time. Thank you, Susan. And thank you for everybody. I will have to give you a heads up. As me on the back end of all of this and looking for questions, it makes the speaker's job a whole lot easier versus trying to think of what to say. If there's a promptu question, then that can lead to other questions. So thank you, everybody, for putting the questions up there. My most complicated project. I wouldn't call it, and I think I like this answer that other people have said too. It's not necessarily complicated. It just had a lot of layers to cut. So it was just lots of little pieces to kind of pull out and cut, and, layering them together, making sure. And then I had to think of like, what colors did I want to do? Make sure that because I was using different card stocks, I had to change the settings about how it was being cut, things like that, but overall, yeah, not so much. I think, also doing HTV, because you have to think about reversing it and, just making sure it pulls clean from your mat. So sometimes doing like the iron on with the HTV can sometimes be a little bit, if it tears right as you're pulling off the mat. So when you're reading it and all that stuff, sometimes that can be a little bit hairy, or, also frustrating on my part. I'm using a new vinyl because I don't always just do cards and paper. I cut other things on my Cricut as well. And so like, it just didn't pull clean, and it was a vinyl that I thought was going to have the same setting as something else. And I'm like, crap, I have to, so it's one of those things. So that's my answer to that. Okay. What's this? What's the holder next to the brush holder I showed? Oh, this one. So this guy is another one. This is a magnificent tiered one. Sorry, I gotta get my markers out of the way so you guys can see. Let me pull the thing off so you guys can see a little bit better. So this has got purple and then clear, and then it's got kind of like a teal color, which they made that teal color for me, which I was like, yeah. So that is from a company called Make It by Marco. They also do customized. They have a whole range of different products, and it's the not injection mold. It's 3D printing with plastic, and they have their own machines. And so they have like gone in with a bang with the crafting world. And so that is one of the brush holders that is like a tiered system, and it is on a Lazy Susan. So I have that for my pens. And then this one is a cute one from, from Prickly Pear. So because I have so many different brushes that I like to use all the different ones. So test cut. Yes, I do test cut my new materials, but it's frustrating. So somebody said, yeah, test cut your materials. And so, yeah, I do. I didn't at the time. Well, I did cut it, but it was frustrating that I didn't get it to cut the right way. And then I spent more time trying to figure out like what was the perfect thing. But yes, always test cut your materials, or do it on a paper that's the same, or vinyl that's exactly the same, just maybe a different color that you don't care about. Yeah, I love Lucy. She was like, pick the color you don't like. Try it on that. Perfect idea. I love that one. All right, where is another one? Oh, has more brushes. Yes. Okay. So that was the one you were asking. So she's like, has more brushes. Yeah, that's the one. And I've only got 3 sections. You can tier that one up to be as many sections as you want, which is really cool. Okay. What else we got for questions? What is the code again? I forget. You're going to have to watch the video. I don't have the code in the front of my head. I should have looked it up, but it's written right below the video. So as you're going into the video, sorry, I got an itchy nose. Right below the video, it's written right there, or just watch the video. It's jump to it. It's not too far. I made the code 6 months ago, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have it in the forefront of my head, or if somebody knows, pop it up on the screen. That's great. Happy to have that. For me, HTV is the easiest thing. Paper projects are still an intimidation level. See, I started with paper on my Cricut. I used to teach at Michael's for people that had just bought a Cricut at Michael's and they wanted to do like an introductory class. And I used to teach that class at a Michael's back in the Houston area years ago. That's when I only had 2 kids, not 4. I was pregnant with my 3rd at the time. And so I got used to doing paper, but this was back when it was like cartridges. So that was when I was teaching. That was before we were able to go online with everything. And so I was teaching on the Explorer way back when. I didn't even own it. I was still teaching it. So I would go in and play around, and we would make a couple of different projects, and we had a Christmas project, and we had like learn how to make cards and how to do paper piecing. It was fun. So, but because I cut my teeth on paper, for me, and I'm a paper crafter to begin with, that's where I like kind of got my groove in the business. To me, it's a no-brainer. Plus, I have way more paper than I do all the HTV or the vinyl. But I work with vinyl every month and a couple of times a month, and I'm teaching classes on vinyl now too, and do lots of videos on vinyl. So yeah, it's just what you get used to. Vinyl is quite nice as long as it cuts clean. I think that's the key with anything with your Cricut. Does it cut clean? And the one thing for me, because I have not played enough with it, is the pens. So, using the pens and putting the pen in there and doing that, because I haven't played with that much. And so I know it's awesome, but I just like, we're always afraid of what we haven't touched on yet, what we haven't played with. And as soon as we do it, and as soon as we kind of get, you're like, that's easy. So yeah. All right. Okay. As a crafter wannabe, any suggestions on how to pick color combinations? Horrible at that. So there's this amazing thing called a color wheel, and I'm not being sarcastic about that. It is fantastic. So when it comes to color combinations, there is a color wheel, and I do not have one, but I look at it online, and you can go around and you can look at different colors to decide, do you like them together? So for instance, there's some certain colors that go really well together, and they're either complementary, so they're next to them, or they're opposites of colors. So contrasting colors. Are you wanting something that's similar next to each other, or something that's very different? So we see red and green, and on the color wheel, they're opposite spectrums from each other. That's why they go well together. But you can also do your cool colors, which are similar on the side of the color wheel. So you can pick your greens, your blues, and your purples. So those go well, like your warm colors. You can have your oranges, your reds, and your yellows. Those go really well together. So it just depends on what kind of project you're making. And if all else fails, especially when it comes to paper or if it comes to vinyl or whatever, you can pull out, let me hide that again. You can pull out your sheets of paper and put them next to each other and go, do I like that? Like I will put papers on my desk and just stack them up and layer and go, do I like these colors together? Does that look pleasant to me, to my eye? Is that appealing? Or is that kind of going, that's cringy. There's something funky with that. So you kind of have to play with it. You can also look up pretty color combinations online. There's ways to see that, but then you'd have to like possibly go buy those colors. So I like to work with what I have. So hopefully that answered that question. All right. Looking to see, can you cut fabric? Yes, I cut felt all the time on my Cricuts. Now here is the one caveat for most fabric and also for felt, because I cut felt all the time. I do tons. I work with one of the felt companies at the felt that you would buy if you went into any of the big box stores, Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I work with that company and I do videos for them for their social media. So I cut with the Cricut, I cut with my hand, I show all different ways of using felt. And so the one thing you do need to put in your, sorry, trying to find it, is that you need your rotary blade. Okay, so with most fabric, there is, and I do not believe the Air has this, but the maker does. And let me flip this around so you guys can see it. So this right here is a little rotary blade. So it actually is a little rotary. And so you pop this in. And once you click your setting on your Cricut and you say that you want to click fabric, now there is a fabric that you can do, or there is a felt that you can do where it uses the knife blade, but it doesn't cut that well. I would always default to the rotary blade because it literally like rolls around and then it swivels around and does its thing. And so it does wonderful, wonderful clean cuts. And you can cut all kinds of stuff with the rotary blade, which is fantastic. And so you just pop out your blade cartridge, you pop in the rotary blade. The maker has that capability, but the Joy and the Explorer do not. So that is the one nice thing about having the maker or having like the machine that can do a little bit of everything, is that you can switch out your blades and cut other stuff. Is there an airport in Austin? Yes. Austin Bergstrom Airport. Yeah, we have, it's actually expanding and it's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, we're the capital of Texas, Austin, Texas. So we do have an airport. We actually have two. So yeah, it's the drive from the Austin airport to where the retreat is about a 30-minute drive, and we have Ubers and Lyfts and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to rent a car, because once you get there, you're just going to stay at the retreat the whole time. And then you can call an Uber or Lyft to get back. So I do not provide any of the transportation. That's for you to figure out how to get to the location. But yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun at the retreat. I'm so excited. I've got all these cool things that we're going. Oh, so everybody's saying, here it is, floral Cricut freebie. There it is. I like I said, I made the file a long time ago, so I don't remember what it is, but that is the design. And just as a heads up, there's a ton of freebies, cut files, print files on my website. So you guys can take a look at that one as well. You love my designs. Well, thank you. What is my site name? It is my name. Like literally, it's there. ErinReedMakes.com. Link is in the information section of the YouTube video. So if you scroll down to where it says more info, there's a link that takes you directly to my website. So let's look at that. Do I ever put vinyl on cards? I personally have not. And it's one of those things like, well, I work with vinyl all the time. I actually work with a vinyl company. Why wouldn't I put vinyl on cards? Somehow in my mind, it's like they're two separate things. But yes, I absolutely should start putting vinyl on my cards, because it would look, no, I take it back. I did a while ago. Sorry, I was totally forgetting about a project. I used a transparent vinyl on the front of a shaker card window. So it was a shaker card and it was a Halloween, and I had one of my cut files was this cutie little skeleton. And so, or was it something, or it was a ghost or something. And so it was just a square shaker. And then I put the transparent vinyl in the front of the shaker window and all the little shaker pieces. So as you shook it, you could see it, but you could see through it. It was really cool. But you could totally do all different kinds of vinyl. Brandy has her card for this project actually has vinyl on it, her Easter card. That is really cute. So that's a fun one. Love to see you in Austin. Woo woo! Love it. All right. I love when people come. All right. What is HTV? HTV is heat transfer vinyl. So it's a special vinyl that you would put on a t-shirt. And I will give you a heads up when it comes to those types of heat transfers vinyls. You want to make sure that you're probably putting them on a polyester shirt for a couple of reasons. the vinyl is going to stick a whole lot better, less chance of it peeling and warping. Plus polyester, the higher count of polyester, the less chance for shrinkage. So once you've ironed on your design, because you have to high heat iron it on, you won't get the bubbling and warping if you wash your shirt and your shirt shrinks a tiny bit. You can put it on cotton, but you're definitely taking the chance of the shirt shrinking and bubbling and warping. So that's what HTV stands for. There is not a code on the link below the video. Oh, the code is in the video. Absolutely. The code is in the video. It's like written on big screen on the video. I thought they put the code below it. So sorry about that if that didn't get added. I think it was added for the all access pass. I know for sure it was there because that was where I looked. I guess for the freebie one, got to watch the video. What white cardstock do you like to use for those clean, intricate cuts? I just default to my Neenah white cardstock. Which is Neenah, N-E-E-N-A-H, Neenah, yeah. There's a link in my supplies that shows all the supplies. I buy it in the ream. And here's the nice thing. It's like $20 for a full ream of this 110-pound cardstock. And with anything with your Cricut, you can cut pretty much anything. It's just making sure you get the right settings. So if all else fails, do a second round of a cut to make sure it cuts clean. There's nothing wrong. As long as you don't move your mat, as long as you don't you don't peel it off and try to stick it back on, like don't leave it as be. So if you've got a really intricate design, number one, you can use the intricate design settings and the paper settings. Number two, do a second round of cutting. All right. If you don't have 100-pound cardstock, could you use 65 or vinyl? Sure. I think the vinyl would look really cute on these cards because then it's a sticker and you don't have to worry about the glue. So if you've got black vinyl or whatever color vinyl you want, you could totally cut that with vinyl. That's a smart idea. There's a good use for your vinyl on your cards. How stinking smart is that? Yeah. So then you don't have to worry about it. And vinyl takes intricate cuts way better because it's not going to pull and it doesn't tear because it's vinyl. So it's a sticker vinyl, not the heat transfer vinyl. We're talking specifically just like sticker vinyl where you just peel it, put it on the transfer and then stick it down. So smart idea, man. This is why I love doing these things. You guys give me all these great ideas. Okay. Looking for more questions. Catherine Pooler has great color wheels. I'm a little behind on looking at the questions. I'm trying to scroll down. Looking at questions. Sorry, I'm having a hard time finding it. So you guys are just like, oh, here we go. Looking for another question. What felt do you recommend for purchasing for the Cricut that doesn't fall apart when you cut? I use the Kunin felt. That's the brand that I use. I'm trying to see if I have one that has a little label on it. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so here is the label. Now sometimes, so here it is. It's called EcoFi. This is the classic felt. So this is one of the colors. It's got that little symbol right there. So it's just classic felt. You can buy it as this size, and this size is a 12 by 9, I believe. Yeah, 12 by 9. There's also a bigger size than this. As I hit something across my table, there is a bigger size than this. But I cut all kinds of stuff with my felt. And there is a thicker cut. It's called the premium felt. This is just your classic, easy grade felt. I will say that there is some really cheap felts out there that you can get at the discount stores, the ones with the tree in it. You're going to get a very low quality felt. This felt right here is actually manufactured here in Texas. It's made in Waco, Texas. They are a division of a bigger company. And this is all made. This is what I really love about this felt. It's all made from recycled plastic bottles. So they take plastic bottles, they melt them down, they add the color, and they turn it into a felt. So what a great way to like reuse something that we have so much of. So, that is just a fantastic thing. So yeah, it's 100% recycled plastic bottles is what's used in this felt. Tell me that's not just awesome. That's just amazing. So because it's got a little bit of a plastic, you can actually hear it kind of crunch and creak because it has a plastic to it, which is really cool. It's also a great weed barrier as a heads up for your plants. If you buy that by the bolt, so you can buy, or the ream, sorry. Yeah, no, it's the bolt, sorry. If you buy it by the bolt, you can use it as a bed liner for your plants, which you can get that at Joann's. So sometimes you're going to see the Kunin felt name on there. I believe at Joann's, it is Kunin. If you get it from Michael's or from Hobby Lobby, it's going to have their brand, so Creatology or whatever, because they've rebranded it under their name, but it's still coming from the same place here in Waco. So, which is only like 2 hours from me. So yeah. So good question. Good question. And why am I using that? Because I've used that felt product for so many different things. There's wool felt out there, which is really nice. So that's a felt that comes from wool, so sheep. It's a little different, but I feel like it does have more of a pull, that's a give to it. So it tends to kind of pull apart, and this stays together wonderfully. So, oh, the Explore series machines can cut backed fabrics. Ooh, good to know. Good to know. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just knew about the rotary blade. You can't put the rotary blade, but I guess if you have a backed fabric, like you're putting it on something, you can do that. So awesome, awesome. All right. The free flower front is $1.99. Okay, no, it is free. So it's a product in my store, but I'm giving it to you all for free. You just got to use the code, and the code was mentioned earlier on in the video, and it's also mentioned in the video itself. So watch the video. It pops up on the screen a bajillion times, but it was also mentioned in this live earlier. Let me see if I can go back and pop it on the screen. So I'm scrolling back up. There it is. So here is the freebie code. You do not have to pay the $1.99. You just have to use the code to check out at my store. So you guys don't have to pay for it. That is not the point. The point is free, but anybody who is not part of the summit or did not come, they would have to pay for it. So that's a perk for you guys for being in the summit. Haha. All right, a couple last questions. I will go back and look at all these questions. And I also have been letting all of the other speakers know to go back and look at questions that we did not get a chance to answer because our time was up, because we had another speaker right after that, or there's another event, or we're capping it at about 20, 25, 30 minutes, depending on how many speakers. I don't have a speaker right after me, so hence why I can go the full 30. But I will go back and look at the questions, and I will answer them in the comments on YouTube. So if there's a question I missed and I didn't get a chance to answer it, and I don't know why it just went on my screen, that was weird. Anybody else see that kind of glitchy just thing happen? It's very strange. So make sure, leave a comment, and I will answer it in the comments on YouTube. All right. Oh, here's a good question. How do you clean your mats after they've been used a lot? I'm really bad. I don't that much. I'm horrible. But the best way to clean your mats is just go to your sink with some soap and water. Don't scrub it, because you're just trying to get the fluff. So the fluff from the felt, the little paper bits that are on there, get the big stuff off. And I just use, like a baby wipe, kind of like a really soft, don't want to use a paper towel because it will leave fabric behind, or you can just use your hand. So a little bit of soap, a little bit of water. We don't want to strip the sticky part off, and then let it air dry. And once you've done that, you're getting the gunk off of it. Make sure it air dries for a while before you put the plastic cover back on there. And that is the best way to clean your mats. Over time, though, will those mats get really bad to the point where they're not reusable? So what could you do? So just as a heads up, you can put washi tape or like painter's tape to hold everything down. I've done that numerous times because I think you guys saw that on my video too, or I did it on a previous, anyway. Yes, you can definitely use like tape to hold things down. So if the sticky's just not quite there, there is products out there to re-stickify your mat, or buy a new one. It's up to you. So it depends on where you're going. All right, there it is. So I will take a look at if there's any other questions, because I keep scrolling down and I can't, and we're now a minute past. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, I have a ton of videos coming up. I'm actually going live. You can watch me too, it's okay. I'm going live later today. There's a ton of freebies that are happening. Don't forget to go to the giveaways that are here. There's a ton of amazing giveaways that are happening through the Card Maker Success, the Cricut Card Summit. She's two different things, I get confused. And I'll go back and answer all your questions, and I will see all of your amazing questions later on the back end. I'm watching you, even though you don't see me. I'm on the back end for all the rest of the amazing lives with the other sponsors and speakers later today. Well, the speakers I'm part of. So thank you guys, everybody, so much. And all my information for my retreats, upcoming Christmas card swaps. If you want to be part of my Christmas card swap, get on my newsletter, which if you sign up for the freebie, you'll be on the newsletter. But like we just had a swap that just ended. There's a Christmas cards coming up real soon. It is a ton of fun. There's sponsors with giveaways and freebies in your packages coming back with your cards. We have a ton of fun over on my channel and on all my sites. So thank you, everybody, for being here, and hugs and kisses. And don't forget to leave everybody a like and a thumbs up on these videos. Truly appreciate it. And I'll be watching from the background the rest of today. Bye, everybody.